All right, all right, all right. We are rocking and rolling and ready to go. How's everybody doing this morning? Glad to see a nice little group sitting here waiting for us to get started. So that's always fun. First thing in the morning, I am back in St. George. I am no longer up in the great white north, back down here where it's warm. This little camera is not pointing at me just right. All right, here we go. How's everybody doing? It's nice to be back down here where it's a little bit warmer. We go for walks at night and it's not so doesn't freeze us to the sidewalk. So nice to be back in St. George with you all. Classes for the university start in 2 weeks, I guess. So we got 2 weeks before they start. Let's see if I can pull up our schedule here real quick while some more people are signing in. This was the original schedule. We were going to start January 20th, 22. Now, that's just the first class, just an introduction to stocks. And then we're going to go into the dividend stuff right in here in this class. This is a second class. This is not the same class. They broke it up for me. So this is 2 classes you can take. I just want to know a little bit about the stock market. You take that one. I want to know about dividends. You take this one. This class here in February, this is the big class. This is the one. And the problem is they moved it forward. I think it starts, see that? So it just goes immediately from this one right into that one. So there's no break. So we go right into this one and it goes the first week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then it goes Tuesdays and Thursdays. So that box has to move up one. I think it starts 2, 4, and 6. So they just got me going 1, 2, 3 right in a row. And then they have a big break, 2 weeks, and then we do 2 more weeks out here in March before school is over. That's it. That's my whole schedule. So that's how we're going to do it here in St. George at the university. If those of you want to come and join, then we'd love to have you here at the university. And it's a night class, so it happens in the evening, and we have a lot of fun in those classes. So we're going to learn all kinds of really neat, fun stuff, academic stuff. And then we come and we have these classes here on YouTube, which are the labs for those academic classes. I've got my Donald Trump America shirt on today. Do you see that? That's a pretty cool little shirt I got, little jacket, little red, white, and blue America jacket. All right, because we're going to talk about red, white, and blue America today. So I've got a fun little presentation that's prepared for you. Spend a little time making some slides for you so you could have a little bit of understanding of what's going on. Today, though, I want to go through and do some research. We're going to do some research. It's going to be some work. All right, you're going to have to work today. This is not pure entertainment. This is work. The reason you come here is because you want to make money, and we're going to try and find some stocks. Now, I've had some people ask me questions about the Granite Shares stuff, and we talked a little bit about Granite Shares last week in that class. So if you want to kind of see a little precursor of what we're going to talk about today, you can go watch that class after this one and see what we were talking about. But we're going to go in and we're going to talk about the Granite Shares funds and the difference between Granite Shares and Yield Max. Now, there's also Roundhouse out there, and we may, if we have time, touch on the Roundhouse funds as well. But my favorite two are the Granite Shares and the Yield Max. And of course, my most favorite is the Yield Max. And we're going to talk about the differences between those 2 different companies and what they do differently, what their strategies are, why you might use one versus the other. All right. So that's kind of the big focus of today. And then we're going to go through and see if we can't find some stuff to put our money in. Because I got a whole bunch of money sitting on the sidelines because I had I had to tax loss harvest, right? So we did a bunch of tax loss harvesting in December. December's a really hard month to trade, and kind of following into January, because if we do our tax loss harvesting in January, that puts a whole bunch of cash on the sidelines, and then we need to redistribute that cash back into the market somewhere, and we can't put it back into what we took it out of for 30 days. And that's called the wash rule. Okay, so if you wash it back into the exact same thing you took it out of, then they don't give you the the break on your taxes. Now, a lot of people say, "What? I don't understand all these crazy rules." And it's true. There's a bunch of stupid, crazy rules. But I got a little slide for you here. I want to show you. I created this funny little slide. If I can find it. Let's see if we can find it. I got to refresh this, make sure it's in here. It's a brand new slide in our slide deck for those of you who have this slide deck. We're going to come down here, and I put a new slide in here for you, just for that comment right there. Because, where'd it go? It's all the way down the bottom. Right here. Because this one here. you have to know the rules of the game, because the stock market, see this cool little picture I made? Here, I'll move it over here so you can see it a little better. See this cool little picture I made? This is the stock market game. See all these old dudes sitting around smoking their cigars, playing the stock market? The stock market is part strategy, part luck, and you're playing against the pros. To win, you need to know the game and the rules. So that's why I bring up dollar cost averaging. That's why I bring up um, tax loss harvesting. That's why I bring up some of these other, like the wash rule. These are rules of the game. And you guys oftentimes hear me say, well, you know what? Yeah, pull up the box of the stock market is like playing a game, and they have all these stupid rules, and it's just a game. It's a game you're playing, right? I oftentimes say that it's a carnival game. Here's my new little thing. It's a carnival game. Rules to live by. The stock market is like a carnival game. The odds are stacked against you, and the outcome is never certain. But it's also a game of skill, and skill can be learned. So the stock market is a roller coaster, all right, especially in the months of December and January. And if you read Pitt News Magazine, all of you have Pitt News Magazine. Of course you have Pitt News Magazine. You wouldn't be here if you didn't. Pitt News Magazine had a nice article on the seasonal nature of markets in the month of December and January. And we've got those two issues out, and we talked about tax loss harvesting. We talked about the wash rule. We talked about things like that, and how the December is really a funny month. You don't know what's going on. You don't know why the market goes down or why it goes up, because people are randomly getting in and out of the market for tax purposes and tax reasons. And then January is tough because all those people who got out in December, now they have to wait 30 days before they can put their money back in. And not everybody got out on the same day. Not everybody is going to get in on the same day. So the markets are going to be a little bit sporadic getting out. Markets are going to go up and down, in December, crazy, as people are doing their tax loss harvesting. And then in January, they're going to start putting all their money back in. And that's what we're doing, right? We're going to go through and we're going to look and see where we're going to put our money back in. And we're going to find some places. And we have to avoid the ones that we took our money out of because we don't want the wash rule. So we have to leave the money out for 30 days. And so that's the point of this little picture right here. All right. The stock market is a game, just like when you're playing a game of life on, a board game. You lift up the box and you look at the back of the box. It's got all the rules. If you don't know the rules, you're not going to be very good at playing the game. You're not going to win, especially not against these pros that are sitting around here, been playing this game for 40 years, right? So you got to learn the rules of the game so that you can beat these guys. These are who you're playing against, all right? Have you ever gone to Las Vegas? And I've told this story a couple times, but I went to Las Vegas with my son, and he's really good at playing poker, around the kitchen table. He can win he's really good at playing poker around the kitchen table. So he wanted to go, and this is back when he just turned, I think 18. So he was old enough to go into the casino, and he wanted to play. And he went and he sat down. He and I sat down at the casino in Las Vegas, and he wanted to play poker against, down in Las Vegas, see if he can do it for some real money. And I gave him a couple $100, and we sat down. And I had a couple $100, and we sat down. And I'm not, I'm no wizard at playing poker, but he got his hiney handed to him, hands down, the very first time. Why? Because there's a whole bunch of pros that sit around, like these guys here at the poker table in Las Vegas, and they sit there and wait for the tourists to come in, and then they just take the tourist money because they're really good at it. So all they do is they just sit there and wait, and they sit at the table, and you don't have to, when you're in Vegas and you're playing poker, you don't have to play every hand. Now, if you sit down at the blackjack table and some of the others, you do. You have to play every hand, or else they don't let you sit there. But at poker, you can sit there and you can skip a hand. You can, I don't want to bet this one. They deal you the cards, you look at them, you throw them back in. I don't want to play. Because if they're just playing against each other, they don't play, right? They just sit there and wait because they're all a bunch of pros sitting there waiting for some dumb guy from St. George, Utah to come wheeling in there with a couple $100 to sit down and see how well he can do. And those guys took our money that fast, right? So that's the same thing as the stock market. You got to be careful because there's a lot of guys that are just pros that are sitting around there, sharks, just ready to circle the little, the little plebes, the little new guys that are sitting at the table for the first time. They just come take all your money. So it's important that you know and understand the rules of the game. And that's the point of this little slide here and this little lecture to get us started. All right, let's get back over to what we're going to talk about today. First thing I want to do is I want to bring up a chart for you. I want to bring up a chart called DJT. How many of you are familiar with this chart? If you're familiar with DJT, you know what that is. Raise your hand. Say something in the in the comments. Say, I know what DJT is. It says right there, it tells you it's Trump Media and Technology Group Corporation. So this is Donald Trump's stock for Truth Social. You guys, he's got his own little Truth Social thing, right? Because he got kicked off of Facebook and Amazon or Facebook and Twitter and all these other social media outlets. And so he created his own, he's a billionaire, he'd just go and create his own company. So he created one called Truth Social. And if you want to see what Donald Trump's doing and what he says, and he tweets all the time, he talks to, world leaders through his social media company. That's how he posts stuff, right? So he doesn't go to the mainstream media and do all these stuff. He just, if he wants to say something, he says it right on his own little company, Truth Social. So if you have Truth Social on your phone, you can see what Donald Trump has to say to world leaders and to other politicians and to people. It's just comments. It's a social media website, but he does a lot of stuff on there. And so you go get that little app on your phone and you can follow Donald Trump and you can see what he says all the time. So that is what this is. It's a publicly traded company and you can go buy stock in his company. Well, if you look at his stock's not been doing well. All right. He bought it and it went up at first and then it kind of went down and then it went up and then it went down. It's just kind of been drifting lower. But what's this right here? What happened right here? Does anybody know what happened right there? Donald Trump merged. He didn't buy his social media company or his Trump Media and Technology company merged with another company. He basically bought another company, Fusion. That's exactly right. Jay's right on top of things, man. So what he did is he merged with a company, and I got a little slide here for you. Again, let's come back over here. And he merged with a company called TAE Technologies. Now I want you to think about this for a second. Let's just kind of brainstorm some ideas, some concepts here. TAE Technologies, they are a fusion energy company, cold fusion basically, which hasn't been invented yet. But they are the leaders in developing cold fusion, basically cold fusion. It's not necessarily cold fusion. It's fusion that doesn't have, like a nuclear bomb. When a nuclear bomb goes off, it kills everybody because of the explosion, right? But it's the radiation that is so bad, right? It's the aftermath of the radiation. Well, cold fusion, this fusion technology is like a nuclear bomb without the radiation. So that's what they're developing. It's like a nuclear bomb without the radiation. Now, for those of you who are big Pit News Magazine fans, you know this book right here. It's the Orion Protocol. This is a book written by one of our authors, right? One of our authors, Grant Thorne. And this is actually a novel. It's a novel, but it's based on truth. So it's a historical novel. Historical meaning like last week. This is all current stuff. It's like all the congressmen and people who are buying stocks. It talks about all that. It's all these different contracts, and it's all about cold fusion. It's all about this fusion stuff, fusion technology. So that's what this book is all about. It's really a fun book because it's been written into a novel. So it's got a storyline in it while it teaches you all this really cool stuff that's been going on behind the scenes. So if you haven't got that book, you can get it on Amazon. It's just called the Orion Protocol. $7. I mean, it's not gonna, break your bank. So go get that. It's fun. It's a fun little book to read, and it's clear full of all kinds of stuff. A beautiful story about this type of technology. That's exactly what the book was written about. And then, of course, Donald Trump comes in and he buys TA Technologies. Now, Donald Trump bought TA Technologies after this book was written. I think he read my book. That's what he did. Donald Trump read my book. And so he went and bought TA Technologies. That's what he did. All right. So go get the book, read about it, and it's really fun. And then you got Truth Social merging with TA Technologies. Now, TA Technologies, think about this all goes back to AI, right? Artificial intelligence. And we are running out of energy for electricity for AI. And so the federal government is putting all kinds of efforts into electricity generation, technology, being able to build these big plants and everything so that they can have electricity. And then Donald Trump comes in and he buys this company. What? Do you think Donald Trump has any inside information? Do you think he knows something we don't know? I don't know. Maybe he's got some knowledge that we don't know. What do you think? Do you think he's in a position to maybe know something that we don't know? Possibly. Maybe he's just a good speculator. I don't know. He's been pretty good at speculating his whole life. He's got more money than I do, a little bit. So we're going to come down here and talk about TA Technologies, the future of clean fusion energy. All right, who they are. The world's leading private fusion energy company, founded in 1998. The goal? Commercial fusion power that is safe, carbon-free, and non-radioactive. That's the cool part right there. Non-radioactive, carbon-free. All right. Key differentiator. Unlike competitors using donut-shaped tokamaks and radioactive fuel, deuterium tritium, TAE, uses a linear design and safe hydrogen boron fuel. Now, this is way above my pay grade, but that's what they do. All right. They're a little bit different company. They're doing something different than everybody else. Current status, moving from research validation, what they call the Norman device, to a commercial prototype, which they call Da Vinci. So they are ready to move into a commercial prototype already. And Donald Trump just merged with them. Now, these guys were not, they were not publicly traded before this merger. And so they didn't have to go through the IPO process, because the IPO process, they have to go and release to the public all their information, right? Well, this way, they just merged with Trump's organization. And they didn't buy him. Trump didn't buy him. They just merged. So their value went way up, and Trump's went even down further, right? So, but they didn't have to go through the IPO process. So now, if you wanted to invest in the company that Donald Trump invested in for the future of energy, electricity, and technology, maybe, just maybe, you would want to buy into this little company that he's building here. AI did some cool little pictures to kind of show you what the future would look like with this free energy style technology, right? This non-radioactive, carbon-free fusion energy. All right, so there you go. So this is the stock. This is Donald Trump's stock. We showed you that just a second ago. And you can see how it popped right here at the end. It just kind of, as soon as he merged, it ran way up. It's pulled back. It's made what? A little ABC pattern. And so we're going to come over and we're going to look at our chart. And am I making a trade recommendation here? No, I'm not making a trade recommendation. I don't make trade recommendations in this channel. I don't tell you guys what to do. I tell you what I'm doing. All right. Now, because of this, I bought a bunch of this stock. So I bought some. All right. I got in right around here, right around $13, $14. So right in here somewhere. And it's up a little bit. It's $14.63 today. So I'm up a little bit. I bought it right on this dip as it pulled back. So I didn't get down here. I didn't know that he was going to do it. These are the people who had the inside knowledge that did this. All right. As soon as it was available, it went. But I got in right in on the pullback. I didn't want to buy up in here. I didn't want to buy up in here. I was like, it'll pull back. And it did. It pulled back down into here. And so I was able to get a little bit here. And so I've kind of dollar cost averaged in a little bit during this pullback here. So my average is right around $14. But anyway, just to give you a little nudge and let you know that I think Donald Trump probably has a little inside knowledge, a little bit more knowledge than us. And it's pure speculation. I'm not telling you guys to buy this stock. In fact, if I were you, I wouldn't. Don't do what Land does. Whatever you do, don't do what Land does. Just kidding. You can do what I do. I've done pretty good at this. So if you want to do what I do, buy a little bit of this. And it's kind of right here, right now, going across that natural trend line. It's been dipping down in here, and I think that we might get a little. We might get a little bit of a rally. Nobody knows, but if we just do a little Fibonacci work on here, A, B, C, who knows? I mean, it's not going to go explosive like that. That was the breakout, so we could kind of be a little bit more gentle with our speculation. But I think we got some growth potential in here, up to above and break. Of course, our first goal would want to see it break above the previous high, which is right in here. So if we could come up into this region here, and then it might dip right? Well, that's how markets work. They go up and then they dip again. And so we'd see it maybe go, this is what we could do, a little speculation. Maybe if it could break the previous high, maybe go up to 90%, 100% right in here. And then maybe it would dip back down underneath, and then we'd go back up again. So what we're going to do is we're going to ride this up. And then as it dips, we'll buy some more right in here. All right. So it might dip back down underneath our previous trend. And then that's where we could buy some more in anticipation of the next rally. So that's kind of what we're looking for on this market. Is the company's still, they haven't got anything that's working yet, but they've got some prototypes that are working, and they're ready to go into some the next stage. All right. And they merged with Donald Trump, so they get some public money. So they could get some public money, and now they got public money coming in. And maybe the future of technology will have Donald J. Trump written all over it, because it's the future of fusion. Fusion technology. All right. And if they can license that out to lots of companies and make all these little fusion reactors all around the world that are clean and free energy, basically, right? Nothing's free, but hydrogen boron fuel driven. Maybe we can participate in that, and we'll be rich beyond our wildest dreams. Nobody knows, right? Nobody knows. I will tell you the next thing that I have done. I'm going to come over here. I have bought into Bitcoin a little bit on this pullback. This is not a good chart to look at right now. Let's come back over here. I bought a little bit of money in Bitcoin again. Okay. Now I took it out of some of the yield max Bitcoins because I can't put it back in, because I had a bunch in there and it went down through the big flush. Right. And of course, my luck, I can't put money back in because of the wash rule. So now that it's, this is where it's starting to curl and start to come back up again, I can't get back in. So I have to sit and wait, but I did put it back into Bitcoin proper. So I took it out of this one that gives me the dividends, and I put it into Bitcoin proper, and we'll see if we can't get a little growth coming back out of this thing again. But that's the two purchases that I have done since you and I have talked last. And I believe Bitcoin will come back. I'm a believer in Bitcoin. I think Bitcoin will do well. I've done well with Bitcoin in the past, always made money with it. I've not lost any money in Bitcoin, not made tons, made about $100,000, I guess, last year in Bitcoin. That's a lot of money to me. But that's kind of where we're at with the two purchases I've made so far this year. And I need to probably pull up my little spreadsheet for you and show you where we're at. And then we're going to go look at the other markets that we're going to be putting some stuff in. Now, I have been working on my spreadsheet, and we're back to the only things I have, the only UBI, Universal Basic Income stocks that I have are AMD, NVIDIA, OARK, PLT, and GDX. And last night I made, on that last week, we made $3,300 in dividends that came in last night. So my portfolio with those four stocks, with the amount of money I got here, 50,000, 100,000, 50,000, 200,000, 24,000, 427,000 is what I've got in there. All right, or that's what I put in. The current value is only 379. It's gone down 47,000. So I've lost 47,000, but I've made in yield 137,000. So 137,000 in yield. So that means I've made $89,000. All right, on these four stocks. And then I'm 19 months away from break even. In 19 months, I will have received back, if it maintains this same growth status, in 19 months, I will have had $427,000 back. All right. And that's just all that means. All right. So this is how these four stocks. Now I had a whole bunch more than these, but I took them out because I don't have them anymore. And so they went into cash. So right now I have in cash. Wait, where's my cash? Oh, cash on hand, 190,000. So I have $190,000 sitting in cash, looking for places to put my money. So if you guys want to go through and figure out where we're going to put our money, that's the money I'm going to be putting into my portfolio. And I've taken $120,000 in cash out, paid bills, bought things. You got to buy money. You got to buy things too. So that's the money I've taken out so far since I started this with 476,000. And I made 275,000. I have 120,000 in cash, and I took cash withdraw, and I have, where'd it go again? 190,000 in cash. So right now it's saying that I made 58% annualized return starting from a little bit of 2024, 2025, and now going into 2026. So I'm total for those 3 years, which is really just a little bit at the beginning of, just at the end of 2024, all of 25, and then the first week of 2026. I'm at 58% on just these 4 stocks, or on these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stocks. All right, so that's where we're at, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to come down here and see if we can't load up, get some more stocks. So let's first of all go over to Granite Shares. We're going to go over to Granite Shares. And the reason I'm going to start with Granite Shares and not Yield Max is because we always talk about Yield Max. I don't talk about Granite Shares as often. So let's create a new portfolio, and we're just going to call it Granite Shares. Granite Shares, and it's called Yield Boost. They call theirs the Yield Boost, because Granite Shares has a lot of different ETFs, but we're specifically interested in their, what they call their Yield Boost funds, right? And that's because we want income. If you want growth, maybe you're a little bit younger and you're a little bit more interested in growth, not as much income. Of course, a lot of people want income. They want to live off their stocks, and that's kind of what this is designed around. These Yield Max funds and Yield Boost funds are designed for people who want to have income. I live off of my portfolio. I have other income. I have real estate. I have businesses. I have other things. I have other income. But believe it or not, my portfolio makes me as much or as more money than I make. This is has become my primary source of income. All right. So I live off my portfolio. So if you're like me, where you don't really have a job, I mean, I teach at the university, but they pay me about as much money as it takes to pay for the gas to go down and back. It's not like it's not like it's a high paying job. But I have a Tesla, so I don't have to pay for gas. You know what? I did the math on what my Tesla gets, and kind of trying to do the relationship between my Tesla and a nice car, internal combustion engine car that buys gas. I'm getting about approximately, my mathematics come out to be about 122 miles per gallon. Is that pretty crazy? 122 miles per gallon in my Tesla. It just irks me when I have to pay for gas. Everything I get, I plug it in at my house, and if I have to go down to one of the superstation charger things, it really irks me, because that means I have to pay for gas. I have to actually buy electricity to charge my car. When it's a home, it doesn't feel like it's, it's like it adds like a $20 a month to my to my electric bill. That's all it is. And I can drive it, fills it up every night, drive it all over, come back, fill it up, drive it all over. I never go to those superchargers unless I'm going cross country. And then, I have to go in there and pay $20 or something, to $7 at this one and $7 at this one. So it ends up being about $20 to go from Logan at the top of Utah down to St. George, about $20. So if you think about, well, I don't want to buy a car like that, think of the gas savings. Unbelievable. So anyway, it's a cool car. I like it. I have no illusions that I'm saving the environment. I know, because to build one of those things with all the batteries in the ground they have to rip apart, and all the diesel that they use to make the batteries and all that stuff, I don't know if there's any savings there. But it is cool that it doesn't, puke out exhaust, in the McDonald's line. You don't have to turn off my car. Turn off your idling car. I don't have to. I don't have that problem. Anyway, it's a cool car, and it goes by itself. I just hit a button, boop, and it takes off and goes all by itself. Takes me wherever I want to go. It's like a chauffeur. All right. So that said, we should look at the Tesla stock, since we're talking about Elon and his neat little car. It's like driving your iPhone. It's just like an iPhone. You have this little display. There's no speedometers or anything. I think they should put all that stuff back in there just because it's cool, and we like I like little dials and stuff. It could be your speedometer, or it could be like a dial, and it could make, I don't know. You could have a gas gauge that looks like a gas gauge, only it's for your battery. But I don't know. That's just me. I think it would be cool. But no, they just have this big display, like a computer screen in your car, and it's a touch screen, and you just, set up all your settings, and you just hit buttons on there, and it just drives you around. Takes you wherever you want to go. I'd put grandma in it and just say, hey, grandma, here, push this button and go to the store. And she'd just take her and go park and everything. It's pretty cool. All right, and if you wanna drive, it's a performance car. It's fun to drive too. You don't have to just always let it drive you. Let's see, okay, so this is Elon's little car right here. This is a car company. Now remember, he's got 2 other sources of income in Tesla. So I'm big into Tesla, got a lot of Tesla, own some Tesla, buying Tesla, very positive on Tesla, but it is coming down off this previous big high up in here. All right. So we had this thing come in. We want to pull up our little accumulation distribution model. This is the one. Come on, come on. I hate it when it does that. How come it does that? How come it does that? Come on, Apple, you ding dong. Not Apple. It's not Apple. This is Microsoft Windows. Okay, see that? There we go. I think that's a little key. So there's our map. So if we look at our map, right here, we can see this was this part right here. We got that a real elongated accumulation stage in here. And I don't really think that was much of an accumulation stage as much as it was a Elon got political stage. And people were like, what? What's he doing, Elon? Nobody's buying any of his stuff. But anyway, then the market took off like a rocket ship. And it's not really following as close as I would like to see it. Because it went through this stage here and then it came down with the dip, but then it took off and rallied back up again. So this is kind of, it's not really following the Wyckoff theory very closely. And so it leaves us a little bit more bereft, wondering, hey, wait a second, what are we going to do? So we're going to have to take into consideration Fibonacci and Elliott Wave. And so we can see that this is kind of coming down off of this little ABC pattern, this little bow tie. And we're anticipating it's still falling. So don't freak out. This is just going to give us an opportunity to buy it lower. All right. So see how high the MACD is up here. So MACD way up here on the top side, and it's coming down. It's turned red. This is all normal stuff that's happening. Don't freak out. This is all good stuff for us, because what we're going to do is we're going to be able to buy some more as it gets down here. And now's a good time because we're looking to find something to put money into, right? TSLA. And so we're looking, and we won't put it into TSLA. We'll put it into TSLY, which is the yield max version, but this is Granite shares. So we're going to put it at TSYY. All right. So we're going to look at Tesla, and as this comes down, as it gets down, I want to see it hit that red line right there. That's where we'll put in our first tranche, if you want to call it a tranche. And if it comes down further, we'll put some more in down here at 130.9. This is the 200 period moving average. I don't think Tesla's going to come all the way down and touch the 200 period moving average, but it certainly could. All right. And if it does, we'll put a bunch more in. So don't put it all in at once. Wait for it to come down. We don't necessarily need to catch a falling knife, because I don't think it's going to come down and make a V recovery, although it might. A V recovery is what it did here. It came down and made a V recovery. It didn't give us the little ABC pattern that comes down, tests the previous low, and then starts to go up and gives you that little buy signal right in there. See that? It just took off. This is called a V recovery. We might get another V recovery in here, get a little double bottom down in here. Who knows, but it could come down into this region here and then take off V recovery. It wouldn't give us, the little ABC. Maybe it won't give us a little ABC here. I don't know, but that's what I would look for. I would like to see it make a little rally and then a little ABC pattern, little, maybe even just a couple little bars, little red bars to come in here and then turn and go green again. And then that's where we'd be buyers there too. So we're looking for what I call decision point trading. All right. Decision point trading is a term I coined for decision points. So when a market gets to a decision point where it starts to turn around, that's a decision point that you have to make. Now, these little blue lights, I'm going to turn up the volume on the little blue lights. We're going to come in here. How do you turn up the volume on the little blue lights? There they are. So you can see the decision point is when that little blue light is going to intercept that market. All right, so let's get rid of all the drawings and just come back, and I'll circle some decision points. All right, there's a decision point. There's a decision point. There's a decision point. Here's a decision point. Here's a decision point. Now, I like these little blue lights to come deep down into the trough. See this? See how this comes down deep into the trough? Now, you can get, the reason we have two sets of dots, we also have the parabolic SAR. We have the blue lights and the parabolic SAR. Now, we're going to come in here, and I'm going to make those a little brighter too. See how the red ones are a little bit more aggressive. But the problem with being more aggressive, it's like baby bear, mama bear, and papa bear. All right, so we have 3 sets of dots that we use when we're doing this type of analysis. The other one is the ATR. So we end up with what we call it's the trifecta, right? The 3 sets of dots. And what you usually find is that they all have varying levels of degree of differences of how far they pull they're basically trailing stops, all right? Or trailing entries, because we'll use open stops for entry. But you'll notice that they oftentimes end up at the exact same spot right there. All 3 of them ended up at the exact same spot, even though they all have varying degrees of differences between their mathematical models. And that's good. That's what we want, because we're going to put a trailing stop on each one. If we're in with three contracts or 300 contracts, 300 shares, we might put a 100 share stop on the red dots, 100 share stop on the yellow dots, and a 100 share stop on the blue dots. And then we're going to get 3 different, it's like, which one's best, Lan? Well, sometimes the yellow ones are best, sometimes the red ones are best, and sometimes the blue ones are best. So you never know. So if you put a little bit on the yellow one, a little bit on the red one, a little bit on the blue one, it's kind of like diversifying your exit and entry strategies. All right. We don't know exactly where we're going to get in. We don't know exactly where we're going to get out, but we're going to get in somewhere within this range of these 3 signals. All right. And our stops will just kind of trail along. It tells us where to get in and out of markets. And so we use that, and it gets pretty sophisticated when you're using all 3 of them. So oftentimes I don't use all 3 of them when I'm teaching. I'll just teach you one, and then I'll tell you can do all 3 when you get a little bit closer, ready to use that. But that's what I call decision point trading. So these become decision points right in here. So you can see right there on Tesla, that's a decision point. All right. There's 3 decision points in this one. So you might get in on one or get out on one, get in on the other one, get out on the other one, get in on one or get out on the other one. So you're going to get a varying degrees. We don't always just want to go in like we're at Vegas and put all your money in. Oh, I'm going to go all in. Right. We always want to do a little dollar cost averaging. So if you can use 3 different models, 3 different mathematical models that are similar in a sense, but different enough that they're going to give you different answers, that you can use them to kind of diversify your entries and exits. All right. So that's what that's all about. It's a little bit more sophisticated way of getting in and out, rather than just saying, okay, time to get in, or okay, time to get out. We have 3 different locations where we get in, 3 different locations where we get out. And so we use those 3 models simultaneously. We use them together. Okay. That's how that works. Now this is coming down. So you can see our 3 models coming down right now. They're at different locations, right? And that's exactly what they're supposed to do. They're not supposed to be on top of each other. And then as this thing comes down, you're going to get the first one is going to break, and then you might get another one that breaks, and then you get another one that breaks later. So you'll be able to have multiple entries, and you might get in with one, and then the other one drops, and then you don't get in with the second one, and then maybe that one you get in, and then the third one drops, and you don't get in until down here. So it'll kind of be a little bit sporadic about its entries and exits, and that's a good thing. That's why we do it. So those are just some tools. So you're going to get your decision point. So it hasn't crossed any of those yet. So until it comes down and these dot systems come deep into this little trough down in here, we're not going to add in. And also, for those of you who are options traders, I'm an options trader, and I told you I'm going to start doing a lot more options trading. I want to sell a put, right? I want to sell a put down here. So I'm going to sell a put down here, not that one. Let's come out here. I'm going to sell a put down here. But when am I going to sell the put? Am I going to sell the put right now? I could come in here. Oh, I'm going to collect $625 if I sell that put right now. The problem with that thing is this market's, what just happened? Hit the wrong button. This market's coming down. All right. So this market is coming down. Well, if it keeps coming down, well, this will show a big drawdown against that 625. And I hate that. It looks like you're losing money. You're not. It's just, that's only if you liquidate before you'd lose money. So, but if this thing comes down, well, this shows a big loss. Well, I don't want that. And besides, if it comes down anymore, this will be a bigger dollar amount. 635 is all it is now. Well, if this market comes down to in this region here, well, that'll be a lot more money. It'll be probably, we could scoot this up and see. Be about 15, double the price, right? Be about double the amount of money. So if I put this down here, what the heck is going on with my computer screen? Why is it doing that? Software's not crashing. The computer screen is just going blank. I don't know what's going on. All right. Anyway, so If I put it in down here right now, I only get $630. But if I leave it at the exact same place and wait for this market to come down a little farther, it'll almost double in money, and I can sell it at the exact same spot. And so what I'll do is I just wait. So I'm trading this. It doesn't look like it. It's like, Lan, you're not trading it. Yes, I am. I am trading Tesla right now. How? By not getting in. I'm short. I'm actually making more money as the market comes down by not selling my put option yet. Does that make sense? I'm trading Tesla right now. The further it comes down, the more money I'm going to make. Why? Because I'm going to put a put option right there, and I'm going to sell it right there. But if the market comes down further, that put option will go up in value, not down. Right? Right now, it's only 630. If Tesla keeps coming down a couple more drops, which I think it will, I can have that option down there. I'll put it in. Actually click the button to put it in a couple of days when this thing looks like it's calming down and it's getting down further. And then it'll be like almost double the value. So when you're trading options, not being in the market is sometimes how you make the most money with an option. I know it's weird. I'm not in the market, but I'm trading Tesla with that put option right now. All right. I could just leave it on the screen and it's not executed, but it'll show me how much money I'm increasing or decreasing my options value. And as soon as I think that gets to its maximum profit potential, see, you can see it changing, 630. So you can see it changing. If we have a couple more down days on Tesla, it'll go up, it'll double in value in there with just a couple more down days. And then I can go boom and click the button and capture that extra amount of money. But by not executing right now, I can make more money. Does that make sense? So I'm actually trading 3 or 4 different markets, but I'm not in any of them. Why? Because they're all coming down and my put option is increasing in value. All right, because that just means I'm going to buy some shares right there if the market comes down and touches the purple line underneath the red line. Remember, it's a carnival game. So my carnival game right now is I want that market. I'm going to sell this put option, but not right now, because if the market keeps coming down, I'll get more money by not selling it yet. And then the game will be, as long as the market stays above the red line, I will get to keep the 630. But if it comes down and touches the purple line underneath the red line, I get the shares. And that's not a bad thing, right? I wanted to buy some Tesla anyway. And so I get the shares. And then if the market turns and goes back up, I make money with the shares. If it turns and goes back up, I don't get any money with the shares, but I'll get to keep my 630, which is 630 right now. But hopefully it comes down a little further and I can double that. I'll make $1,000 or something, right? And that's okay too. Either one. I'll take the consolation prize. I'll take the rubber frog, or I'll get the shares and then I'll make money on the rally of the shares. Either one. And then I can sell covered calls against it. Okay. So that is what Granite Shares does. And so it's kind of a long circle way to come back around to what Granite Shares does. Granite Shares sells covered cash secured puts. All right. So there's no upside potential. Let's say I sell this right now. If I sell this right now, go ahead and execute it and sell it right now, I'd get $632. That's mine no matter what. I get it. All right. No matter what the market does from now on, I get that 632. It's mine. Now, if it comes down here and touches underneath, I'm going to get the shares. And that's okay too. I get the shares. So this is what Granite Shares does. And Granite Shares takes that $635, and at the end of the week, they give you some of it. All right. They give you almost a large percentage of it. They give it to you. Of course, they have to give it to a whole bunch of other people too. So however much you got invested is how much you get in a percentage basis of what they're trading. And so if we say, well, Lan, I don't really want to trade options like you're doing there. I'm kind of not comfortable with that. Okay, well, you don't have to be. Just come over and give your money to TSYY and they'll do it for you. Now, this is TSYY. If it will open, come on, buddy. Why are we having problems today? I do not know. I do not know. Oh, there it is. Come up. Okay, so this is TSYY, and you're like, it's just going down. Well, that's because they make money and then they give it to you. So they take it out. So you put money in, the market would go up. This fund would go up. But then they take that money, they go and buy cash secured puts on Tesla. And then when the cash secured put pays out, that $630, they put it back into here. And then when they put it back into here, they give it to you. And so that makes this market go down. So they keep taking the money out. They're not growing a big fund, right? If you want that, there's other stocks that do that. But this one grows a big fund, and then they take it out and give it to you. That's why it's going down, because they keep taking it out and giving it to you. All right. So now this is TSYY. Now you don't have to really trade this one. This is just a bucket of money that you put your money into, and then they go trade it. They go sell cash secured puts on Tesla, make those premiums like I just showed you, and then they put it back in here, and then every week they distribute it back to you. So now what we have to do is we have to go look and see, because it is going down. And that's not good, right? I mean, it's not completely good, but you have to take that into consideration. That's what's going on. That's how this beast works. So we're going to go back over, and we're going to go into, where is my portfolio matrix? So we're going to go into portfolio matrix. All right. And in portfolio matrix, I'm going to pull up TSYY. And in TSYY, we can see in portfolio matrix that it had a big, huge drop right here at first. Look at that, a big, ugly drop. And that we can see it in the chart, right? There it is. It's that big, ugly drop right there. Well, it's not dropping like that anymore. It's now kind of just slowly dropping. So this number here takes into consideration that great, big, huge drop. But let's look at it with the big drop, and then we'll cut that big drop out and see what the difference would be. So this is how much money it's making. It's paying you back. This purple line is the money you're making, right? This is the reinvested dividend drip money, or this is your reinvestment money. So this is how much money it's making you. This is how much money it's losing. So you have to think about these funds like a insurance company. All right. They're like an insurance company. And I got, oh, you know what? I prepared a little slide set, but it's not ready for you. I'll show this to you again, maybe on Thursday when we have class. But it's kind of, it's for my university students, but we can show it here. But it's a lesson plan on the, but the idea is that think about this as an insurance company. All right. So the insurance company is getting premiums all the time. That's the money that we're talking about over here. This is the money that we're getting all the time, is we're getting these $635. We do this every month. Okay, this says every 45 days. So you kind of time it with your options. You try and do it so you can get them, but they'll ladder them and they'll lay them in here. They'll go deeper and they'll go longer. Way more sophisticated process than what you and I would do if we were doing it ourselves. So they're laddering them in. All right. Meaning that they'll sell a bunch of these, 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 and they'll go out in time. And then they'll also sell them deeper too. They'll come down and they'll go down to a little bit deeper, and then they'll sell them out further. And then they'll go deeper and they'll sell them out further. And they'll go deeper and they'll sell them out further. Go closer too, and they'll sell them out further. All right. So they got all these options that are constantly decaying and dropping off. And all the premiums keep going into that little bucket. So if you think about it like an insurance company has all these clients, right? And they're paying them a premium every month. So if you have a car and you need insurance on it, you pay your premium every month, but you don't collect on it every month, right? I mean, you didn't crash your car every single month and get a payment back from the insurance company. You just keep paying in, even on a month where you crash. Let's say you crash. Okay, I crashed this month. I'm going to go to the insurance company, hold out my hand, and say, give me some of my money back. And they're going, oh, okay, we'll give you some of your money back. Oh, by the way, you still owe us for the premium. Oh, yeah, I got to give you some of my money back too. So you still have to pay your premium even on months where you have to collect money, right? Even where you get to collect a little bit against your insurance policy. But we don't really want to collect against our insurance policy because that means we crash our car. We don't really want to get in a crash. So we're happy that we pay to the insurance company and then don't claim. Kind of weird, isn't it? We pay them for something we don't want to have to claim. It's there for protection. Well, for traders, that's what a put option is. Most traders don't sell options like I just showed you here to collect the premium. They buy them. So they pay the $640 because they probably have some Tesla and they're worried that the price is going to fall. So they'll buy a put option, which is insurance to them against the market falling, and it'll keep them from losing money, right? So they'll put their put option in there. They'll pay their premium as an insurance premium. So that ends up what YieldMax is doing and what Granite Shares are doing, more Granite Shares in this sense, but Granite Shares is like an insurance company. So what they're doing is they're selling insurance against a falling market. And they collect the premium. Okay, the premium $637 for that insurance policy. But do they have to pay off? Well, they only have to pay off on this particular one if the market drops below and touches the purple line underneath the red line. That's the only time they have to pay out. Now they have to pay out. Don't get me wrong. There's times they have to pay out. They're an insurance company. You always have to pay out. There's somebody crashing their car all the time. And what they're doing is they're insuring your portfolio. All right. They're insuring your portfolio. So there are times when the market falls and they have to pay out to the people. So that's what this little chart right here shows you. This chart shows you how much they've had to pay out to to the people who bought the insurance. That's what the blue line is. So you can see that right here. That's the gain. So they had a negative gain of 78%. So they had to pay out 78% of the premiums that they received to the insurance to the insurers, the people who bought the insurance. But they're in business to make money. So they hopefully the idea is that they're receiving more insurance, right? More premiums than what they have to pay out. And so that's the yield. So the yield is 136%. So that's this blue line. So they made 136%. They had to pay out 78%, counting that great big huge drop right in there. Okay. So they still had 58% annualized return. That's a lot of money. 58%, that's a lot of money. And it's actually, that's still taken into consideration this big drop here. So if you think about Granite Shares, in the truest sense of the form, Granite Shares is an insurance company insuring traders that the market won't fall. They buy the insurance, pay Granite Shares the premiums so that Granite Shares will insure them. But the market does fall sometimes. And when the market does fall, well, Granite Shares has to pay out like a crashed car. So they paid out 78%, but they got 136%, had to pay out 78% to the crashed cars, still leaves them with 58%. Now, I don't know many businesses, many of you guys have had businesses of your own. You've probably been in business, maybe a coffee shop, maybe some sort of business where you maybe a car salesman, maybe you had a retail store and you sold electronic stereos or something. I don't know, but you probably had a retail store. Probably some of you are familiar with the concept where you buy something, right, from China and you import it, okay? And you put a box around it and you put a price tag on it and you say, well, I bought it for $1 and I'm going to sell it for $2, or I bought it for $1 and I'm going to sell it for, $1.30. So that's your markup. You put it on the shelf, and then out of that 30 cents that you marked it up, or if you sell it for $1 and you bought it for $1, you have all of your expenses that you have to cover, right? So you have to pay your employees, you have to pay for advertising, you have to pay for lights and building and retail store. So at the end of the day, you have expenses against your product. Well, you have a percent gain that is your money that comes out of that profit. So that's all this is. It's a profit. You made 136%. These are your expenses, 78%. That leaves you 58%. That's a pretty good business. For those of you who have been in business, you know that a 58% annualized return on your business, that's killing it, right? I grew up, my dad had gas stations. And so we had those little convenience store gas stations. And we would have gas. We were lucky if we could make 10% on our gas. For every $1 that we would sell, we'd make 10 cents. That's how much markup is in gas. Now they may be making 30 cents now because gas is $3 a gallon, right? So they sell $3 and they get 30 cents. So for every gallon that they sell, they're probably making about 30 cents. Or that's about 30 cents on every gallon. So if they sell 10 gallons, well, they made $3. 30, 60, 90, 36. Yeah, about $3, 300. So that's how much they make when you go to the gas station. Oh, gas stations are so rich. They make so much money. Oh my gosh, look, I just paid $80 to the gas station. He's rich. No, gas stations, usually the gas is a leader item. They lose money on the gas because the cost of pumping the gas, all the regulations, all the crap that they have to do, they want you to come in and buy a big gulp. Because when you buy a big gulp soda pop, that's money. Holy cow, because a big gulp, the cup is the most expensive thing. The drink itself is nothing but a little squirt of sugar into some sparkly water. That's where you come into the store. Buy a donut, buy a little mini pizza, buy whatever you can get in the store. That's where they make all their money. All right. They don't make money on gas. Gas is not a profitable venture. If you think, well, I'm going to open up a gas station and you're not going to do anything but sell gas, you're going to have to move thousands and thousands and thousands of gallons of gas to make any money, to make a living off of it. All right. My dad had like 8-10 gas stations. Gas is not where you make money. You make it on all the other services you can get people to buy. So that's what this is all about. So your company made 136% return, but you had 78% in expenses for a 58% annualized return. So that is a lot of money. 58% for any business is a lot of money. That's a good return. That's a good business. All right. Now let's cut this big drop off here. Let's cut that right out. The way we do that, we're just going to do the last 6 months. So what we're going to do, we're going to take the last 6 months. So we have a gain of 43 and we have a yield of 70 for 27. Okay. Now, if you want to annualize that, that's for 6 months. Annualize, you have to double that. So we're going to come in here and we just take our little calculator and we go 27.22 times 2. That would be a 54% annualized return. Now, what was it when we did the years? About the same, wasn't it? 58. Well, even with the drop, they made more money. So 58% annualized return. That's TSYY. And when you put your money into TSYY, remember, you don't do anything. You don't have to trade at all. You don't have to do it. You just put your money in there. Then they're going to go over and they're going to do all the options trading on your behalf. You take your money and go trade options on it. And then they're going to give you the premium right here. And over the past year, that's the performance that they've done, 58. All right. So let's go over, now that you understand the concept of how these Granite Shares funds work, let's go over to Granite Shares website. And these are all the different funds that they trade on. So you can trade on AMYY, AZYY, BBYY, XB, and you can see what they all are. They're going to take your money, you put it into AMYY, and they're going to take your money and they're going to go sell options, buy insurance premiums on AMD. And then when they don't have to collect, right? They don't, when they get to collect their premiums, they're going to share those premiums with you. But remember, sometimes they have to pay out. So they can't, you don't know. Each month, you don't know how much money you're going to make. It's going to go up and down because some months they're going to have to pay out a lot of premiums because the market went down and they have to pay their insurance out. And some months they're not. So some months you're not going to make lots of dividends. I don't like to call them dividends because they're not really dividends. Dividends are profits from a company. This is not really profits from the company. I mean, in a sense it is, right? Granite Shares is making money on their trades, but that's not the point. It's really a distribution. They're just trading your money on your behalf and they're selling insurance for you. So they're an insurance company and they're going to collect the premiums on however much you gave them. They're going to use your money to insure these guys. So you're taking a risk that they don't have to pay, that the market's going to go up, right? Not down. And so AMYY, you can go in there, give them your money, put it into AMYY. They'll go trade options on AMD for you, give you back your premium at the end of the month. So this one here is AZYY if you want them to trade on Amazon. So if you think a market's going to just go up for the next year, well, that would be a good stock that you'd want to put your money into and let them go trade insurance on it because you don't think they're going to have to ever pay out. Now, if the market's going to go flushing down, well, you don't want to have your money in there because they're going to have to pay out a lot of premiums, right? They're going to have to pay out insurance. But they still collect the premiums along the way, even though they're paying out. It's just oftentimes they have to pay out more than what they get. So here's BBY. So let's go look at a couple of these. You can see the list here, and then you just go to Granite Shares. And in Granite Shares, you go to their ETFs, and then you come down here, the yield boost. That's where you're at on this fund. All right. So this is where you find them. And then these are the guys that are going to do insurance for you. So it's a new thing. These are all brand new. They've only been around for a year. So this is not something you can go back and say, well, how did they do for the last 10 years? Sorry, there ain't 10 years of history. They've changed the rules in the stock market within just the last couple of years. And so this is all brand new stuff. All right. So I'm going to slide this off the screen for now. And we're going to go look at some of these. I'm going to come over to the charts and I'm going to show you a real neat little trick. And I'm a pretty fast typist. So I'm just going to type some of these in. We're going to come in here. AMYY, AZYY, BBYY, XBTY, COYY, NUGY, HMYY, HOYY, IOYY, MAAY, FBYY, MTYY. Now they used to only have 4. Uh-oh. I started missing my commas. Comma. I have to separate them by commas. Comma. All right. So that's what I can see on my screen. There's more than that, but we'll start with these. Now I'll show you another neat little trick because we got some other tricks you can do here. I'll show you another little trick. So while those are opening, I'm going to show you another little trick. Come on, Windows. Come on. This is Grok. All right. So we're going to come into Grok and we're going to say, hey, Grok. Grok. How you doing? How you doing? I need you to help me. Help me. I'm trying to get a list of all the yield. Let's see. Let's give them a little more information. Granite shares.com yield boost ETF symbols in a comma separated list. Can you do that for me? All right. So let's see if Grok will do it for us. Pulling a list of Granite Shares Yield Boost ETF symbols. There they are. 10 results using your site-specific query, identifying symbols, putting them in a comma separated, discovering an additional symbols, including these. So Grok can do this for you too. So if you're not a fast typist, you just ask Grok to go do it, and Grok will put them in there for you. AI is amazing. I love it. It is taking its time. Come on, buddy. 39 seconds already. I mean, my gosh, I could have typed them by now. Maybe I shouldn't have told him to do the expert level. If I'd have come in here and told him to do the fast level, he'd have had it done by now. Now, but he's got to think about it now because he's doing think harder at expert level. Come on, you got them all. Give them to me. All right, while he's doing that, we'll set that over there while he's thinking. What the heck is this? MTYY. Oh, that's way down the list. We'll get to that one. Let's start up here at the top of the list. This is AMYY. Oh, there you Grok finished. Come on, Windows. Okay, browsing. Oh, no, that's not the full. He's still working on it. I thought he had him. All right, here we go. So AMYY, look at that thing. Just tumbled. And I've noticed that these things, and sometimes let's come in here and fix the scaling chart preferences. We're going to make this, it's not as far as it looks. Because of the scaling, it looks, oh my gosh, it dropped a lot. No, really, it dropped from $26 to $21. So it dropped $5. It looks like a lot because of the scaling. You do this, oh my gosh, look how far it fell. No, come on. It's this far. All right, so we're going to come in, and this is Yield Boost AMD. AMD is a great stock, all right? So let's go look at AMD. I have a lot of, I've had a lot. I don't know if I still have it. Did I sell it? What's my spreadsheet look like? I think I have AMD. I do. I have $50,000 worth of AMD. So I like AMD, but it's coming down. We're not going to buy any more until we get a better buy signal, right? So it broke right there and looked like it might be a little buy signal, but then it's flushing back down again. So it's just going sideways. I would like to see it come down. It's right here by this the red line on my Donchian channel. I have my Donchian channel set to 100. So it kind of gives me a Fibonacci. It's a cheater Fibonacci. So let's come in here. Let's make those a little darker so you can see them a little better. All right. So there's our red line. It's right here at the red line. But the important thing for me, now I'm not doing this in the AMDY on the Granite Shares version, but we're going to compare Granite Shares. We're going to compare Granite Shares to YieldMax because they both do a version of this, all right, of AMD. So we have AMDY and we have AMYY. So this is AMD. That's where it's trading. This is AMD, AMYY. This is what their fund looks like. And they've only been doing it for not very good, not very long history. So we don't have a lot of history, but just through this period right here, looks like. And then let's pull up just for fun. Let's pull up AMDY, which is the YieldMax version. Okay. And they are, again, we're going to do the, oh, come on. What in the heck is going on? It just drives me crazy. I don't know what the heck that is. Okay, here we go. So now AMDY is below the 200 period moving average, but we don't really, most important thing on when we do this on these underlying stocks is to know what our average cost is. So my average cost, current share value, average share price is 39.17. So that's really what I want to know. 39.17. Ooh, 39.17. So I'm right. It's Okay, so that's okay. It's below my average entry. So if I put money in right now, it wouldn't bring my average cost up. It would bring my average cost down. So for me, that's good. I want to see it down here a little bit so that I can bring my average cost down when I buy. I don't like to bring my average cost up. I don't want to build upside down pyramids, right? We talked about that before. Okay, so that's where it's sitting on AMDY, which is what I have. So now let's go over and look. Not there, not there. Oh, look, Grok finally finished. Ding dong, Grok. Took forever. Come on, come on. No, it won't move. What is going on with this Windows thing? All right, here we go. Oh, thank you. My dear sweet wife just brought me some tea. All right, so I'm going to grab all these from Grok, copy those. I'm going to come over here. No, not into this one. Where's the software? And I'm just going to put those in here. V, Control V. And now it's going to open up the ones that I didn't type in. All right, so we'll get them all. They're added. There they go. In they come. All right, so those are all the Granite Share ones. So we got everything in here now. All right, so let's come back up. Oh, this thing is being so slow. You know what? I think I know what's the problem. My hard drive is almost full, and I think it's really making it slow. It's got to swap out of memory. Okay, come on, come on. All right, here we go. Okay, so back to AMD. AMD, AMDY, AMYY, AMYY. So let's go over into Portfolio Matrix. Oh, we slid it off the screen. So Portfolio Matrix is over here. All right, so Portfolio Matrix, and we're going to put in here AM, is it AMYY? AMYY. I'm going to make this the size that we could see that list. AMYY. There it is. All right, so it's just started. So we've got a negative 10. So they've had to pay out 10% on AMD, but they've made 30% for a 20% annualized. Now that's not an annualized return. There's only 6 months. No way, it's not even 6 months. 1, 2, 3, 4. So let's say quarterly. So they're making 20% quarterly. So 20 times 4, right? 20, 40, 60, 80. So they're making an 80% annualized return on that yield. With a 10%, you have to multiply that too. It's going to come out about the same, 20% annualized return. So you have to multiply minus 10 by 4. All right, so that's AMYY. We're making about 20%. Now, why is Tesla, TSYY, why is Tesla making 58% and AMD is only making 20%? I'm going to tell you, it's a little bit deep, and just hang with me for a second. I won't spend a lot of time on it, but I'll show you why. For those of you who kind of understand this stuff a little bit deeper, we're going to come over here, and I'm going to go into Tesla again. And this is what they're doing. So they're selling these options, right? So this is how they're doing it, and they're selling the options. And if you come down here to your options table, and you look at your options, we're going to go into the puts only because that's all they're doing is they're doing puts. And this one here is actually a 45-day put. We're going to go to 45 days. You'll see right here, this is the put that we've got listed, the red one, right? And what that's telling us, if you come over here and you look at the implied volatility, see how it's 49? That's not really high, but it's pretty high, all right? And that's how they determine how much money they're going to make on their returns. If this is a big number, they're going to make more money. Why? Because the implied volatility is very high, meaning that they're going to get a bigger premium. All right. So that's the mathematical model formula that they use, implied volatility. So now I'll bet you if we go over and we look at the implied volatility of a just remember that's about 50. We're going to go over and we're going to look at the AMD implied volatility. AMD, and we do the same thing. We're going to put it right close to roughly the same place. Oh, well, I'm surprised. Oh, it did it again. Just bring it back. Okay. So we're going to come down here, implied volatility for a put option, which is about the same. Oh, we're getting about the same implied volatility. Sell the put right about in here. $250. The dollar amount is a lot less. The implied volatility is 55. Oh, the implied volatility is higher. But look at the same option, 45 days out, about the same distance away, is only $250. But the implied volatility is still at 55. That's interesting. We want implied volatility to be really high, because if implied volatility is high, then we're going to get bigger premiums, more expensive, right? They cost more money. And if they cost more money, that means your premiums are higher, more expensive premiums. So you got better coverage, right? Yeah, well, not necessarily better coverage, but you got a higher premium. So we like markets to have really high implied volatility. That means they're they move a lot. So for example, let's go into Apple. Did they have an Apple version in here? Bitcoin, did they have Apple? I don't think Yield Boost does Apple. They do have something like that, Facebook, but what about Nvidia? Not that one. Tesla. Here's one, TQQ. So let's go look at TQQ, and we're going to look at the implied volatility on a 45. Oh, come on. Implied volatility on, well, it's not going to be on TQQ. It's going to be on QQQ. QQQ. All right, so QQQ is going to have I'm going to bet, a much lower, see that, implied volatility. So if we come down here and we say we're going to sell a put, we just go about the same distance. You can see the premium on that is about $342, and the implied volatility, come on, scroll for me. Okay, it's going to be down here, down here, down here. Where is it? There it is. Implied volatility is 22. So that implied volatility is much lower than 50. So the premium is going to be a lot lower. And now it's all relative. You can't say, well, this one's 50 and that one's 50 and this one's 250 and that one's 500. It doesn't work exactly that way. It's not a 1-to-1 ratio. But the implied volatility tells you whether those premiums are expensive or cheap. All right. If you got a low implied volatility, the premiums are going to be very low. If you got a really high implied volatility, those premiums are going to be really expensive. Now, we also have theoretical value, which tells you anyway. So you can see the theoretical value is $202 and they're trading for $340. That means it's really a pretty expensive. It's $340 what they're selling that for. And it's only worth $202. So that's a really expensive premium. That's good for us because we get a big premium, but it also means that the market thinks that the market's going to come down. All right. So the insurance to cover that is $100 more, 33% more, because they think the market's going to come down. All right. So that's how that works. Just a really quick side note. All right. So let's go look at some of these others. So we're looking at AMD. We looked at AMD. Let's go to Bed Bath and Beyond. Here's another one that's going straight down. Okay. It's going from $19. It went from $25 to $19, so a $5 drop. Now, in the beginning, they usually always drop. So just be careful. Wait for them to settle down if you want to trade the Bed Bath and Beyond. So no, this isn't Bed Bath and Beyond. This is Baba. Baba is a Chinese company. For those of you who don't know, Alibaba is to China as Amazon is to America. All right, that's what that is. So this is the Chinese Amazon, BBYY. So let's go look at that one and see how it does. BBYY. Come on. There we go. Now it's brand new. Oh, it's only making 1%. So the gain is 19. The yield is 21. So they've had to pay out 19. They've received 21. They only get $1, 1%. So right now, it's a brand new fund. I would be careful with that one. Right. So let's go look at Coinbase. Coinbase is an exchange for cryptocurrency. That's what Coinbase is. Okay, an exchange for cryptocurrency. So COY, COYY. Let's go look at COYY. All right. So they had to pay out 67%. Now it's brand new. It's only 3-4 months old. Yield 69%. They're making good yield. They're just having a high payout. That's because Bitcoin's fallen through the floor, right? So that's where I lost some of my money. Was I had a bunch of these stupid Bitcoin things, not necessarily Bitcoin itself, although Bitcoin went down, which caused all of these funds to fall. And this is one of them, Coney. I had this one and I didn't make any money. You can see this is where I lost some of my percentage. My gain went down. I got the yield. So I still made money, about 2%, but I had to give 67% back. So that's why I sold that one to do my tax loss harvesting. So I don't have that one right now. Do I want to buy it back? Possibly, because if Bitcoin starts going up, this will pay a lot of dividends, and so it could be a good one. But right now, that's what it's done. Now, again, Bitcoin has come to the looks like to me it's bottomed out, starting to go back up. I bought some Bitcoin, actual Bitcoin. I think I have. How much do I have? I have $54,000 in Bitcoin. And in this account, I have $7,000 in Donald Trump's Fusion, but I actually put more than that. I put double that in 2 other accounts because I have 2 other IRAs. I have a Roth. Oh, I didn't put any in the Roth. I just put it in the traditional. I have about that much again, about 10,000 over there. So I got about 17,000 in DJT, Cold Fusion. Wait and see, maybe it'll pull back and get some more. So I'm not going all in. And that's same with Bitcoin. I've got 100,000 waiting to go into Bitcoin. I'd like to have 1 Bitcoin, which is right now about 80,000. I'm about $30,000 short of having 1 Bitcoin. So that's 54,000 I've got into Bitcoin. So this is Facebook. This one's FBYY, Facebook, Meta. All right, let's go see how Meta's doing on Granite shares. So these are all brand new. So FBYY. So we kind of have to, people are asking me, why aren't you in the more Granite shares? You're all in all the yield max stuff. Well, there's two schools of thought there. Granite shares hasn't been around long enough for a lot of these funds. Like they're only 2 months old. So I'm not going to jump into that thing. I know that they always flush out like toilets at the very beginning. They seem to all of them do that for some reason when they IPO them. They all IPO them way higher than what the value is, and so they all flush out. But this is gain is -20, and they've only made 10% on the yield, so they're down. They're losing money. Right? They opened up their insurance company. They started insuring Facebook traders who think Facebook's going to go down. Sure enough, Facebook went down, so they're losing money right now. They're collecting 10% on their yield, but they're having to pay out 20%. So they're losing 9% on their yield max or on their Facebook insurance company section. It'll come back. Don't worry about it. It'll settle down. Things, and then you can start looking at it. But just give it some time. Give it some time. Don't write it off. Don't say, "Oh, this sucks. I'm never looking at this again." No, give it some time. They're going to start insuring. Meta will start going up, and their insurance, they'll collect the premiums, and they won't have to pay out when Meta starts going back up. So we can go look at Meta. Let's go look at Meta just for fun. META. It just happens to be that Meta started to fall right when they opened up their insurance company. Well, that wasn't a very bright idea. They started insuring Meta traders right when the insurance company, right when they started to fall. That was just bad timing, bad luck. All right. You're not insuring them right now. You're not in there. Don't worry about it. They are. As soon as you think Meta starts going back up, we'll start putting your insurance back in. Start giving them some money to insure Meta, and then Meta goes up. They don't have to pay out any premiums, and you get all the premium. I mean, they don't have to pay out any. What do you call it when you go to your insurance company and you tell them you want them to pay you money? What is that word? Jay says he bought 3 for a gift. What'd you buy 3 of? I didn't see when you put that up. Meta. So let's go look at the next one. Okay, so we got Meta. The next one is MSTR. MSTR. There's another one. Look, bad timing. They got into this thing. This is Bitcoin. Bitcoin went down. You just go look at BITO. It's close enough. Stock market BITO. That's BITO. Look at that. That's Bitcoin. Look at it drop. They started insuring MSTR, which is MSTR. They started insuring this company right here, that it wouldn't fall. Bad timing. Bad luck. They started putting insurance policies on this thing right here that it wouldn't fall right there. That's why their fund is going down like that. Because those are all their insurance. Now, if MSTR starts going back up, which if Bitcoin starts going back up, MSTR will go back up. Then they'll start collecting premiums. And they won't have to pay out. So, I mean, maybe now's a good time to put your money in there and let them start insuring MSTR. Because if they got their options down here and the market goes up, then they get to collect all the premium. They don't have to pay anything out. So it was just bad luck, just bad timing for them. They just started insuring this company right when it was going down. So let's go look at what is theirs? It's Granite Shares MSTR, MTYY. So let's go look at MTYY. This is going to, MTYY. Boy, this is going to be a disaster for these guys. Look at this thing. Holy cow. See, they had to pay out 66%. They only collected 30% on their premiums. So they're down 33% on that one. Oh, wow. That's sad. That's really sad. But, well, they're losing money more slowly than everybody else. How's that? Who's in MSTR? They're losing money more slowly than everybody else. All right. So let's come in and look at the next one. What's the next one? MTYY. That's MSTR. That's one we just did. Gold. Okay, gold. Now this one I've got some. I don't have this one. I don't have Nuggy. Let's go. This is Nuggy. So let's go to GLD. Let's see what GLD is doing. GLD. And these guys, again, it's just bad timing for them. They started to insure this thing when the market started to go down. They just barely started, but now the market's starting to go up. See, it's going back up again. So this is just the price of gold. And so mine, the one I have is in the yield max side. So let's go over and look at my yield max one. See, I've got GD, and I got some premiums over here in December. So I bought this back at the 1st of December was the first time I got in. I just got in right at the end of November, 1st of December. And I got a few dividends back in December, and now I got my first dividends over here. And how much money do I have into it? I see I've got GDXY. I got $25,000, $24,999.97. I had some slippage when I put it in. I put $25,000 in, and I had 3 cents in slippage. Now, since I bought it, it's down $449, but I've got already $607 in yield. So the market, because it went down, right? Because when I bought it, gold went down. Back here from where my entry is. I think I'm right in here somewhere. Back in December. Oh, I'm right in here somewhere. So I probably bought it right in here. Anyway, it's showing that I'm down. I don't know. That's gold. That's not my fund. But that's gold. So anyway, I'm down 479. They've paid out in insurance premiums, but they've collected 607 in premiums that have been paid in. And then so I'm up $128. But I only have $25,000 in there. So gold goes up, then this number will stay small, this number will get big, and I'll make money. See, this number's big here, but I've held on to this thing forever. I got 200,000 in there. It's down 30, but I made 88, so I'm up $58,000 on it. You have your downs and you have your ups, and your ups need to pay for your downs, right? That's the whole idea. This is your losers. These are your winners. So your winners have to pay for your losers. Now, our goal is to make our losers be as small as possible. That's why we need to be traders. All right. That's the trading part of this. We have to come in here and we look at these and we want to buy low, sell high. We don't want to build upside down pyramids. Now, I have to admit, I did I did a bad job last year. I didn't listen to a lot of my own rhetoric, right? And I only come up with a 58% annualized return. Last week I had 62%. It's gone down 2%. It's gone down 4% since I've made some adjustments in here. So I'm at 58% annualized return since I started this portfolio with $476,000. And so I made $276,000 or a 58% return, but I think I can do better. If I would just listen and take my own advice, I can make this NAV number smaller. And not a lot I can do to make the yield bigger. That's going to be what it is. But this is more in my control. Now, oftentimes my thinking is, well, it doesn't really matter what this NAV is. Once I get in, I'm going to be able to have big yields are going to cover my losses. And so I don't worry about this as much. I'm changing my mind on that. So if I've said that in the past, it's like, well, you don't have to realize this until you die, right? You can realize that when you die, and then you just live off of this. And that's one theory, and you can do that. But I'm a long ways from dying. I'm going to live to be like, because I'm only 63. I'm 63 next month. I'm going to live to be like 110. How long are you guys going to live? I'm going to live to be like 150 because of new technology that's coming out, right? And they can take your head and cut it off and put it on a robot. I got to do that. All right. I saw a video. There's a company in China who's working on that. They could actually sever your head and attach it to another body. So take a 40-year-old body and put my 65-year-old head on it. I'm going to do that. You bet I'm going to do that. So anyway, just kidding. I don't know. Would you do that? They even showed that they're trying to make it so that they can sever your head, take your head off, and put it on a robot body. China's working on that, believe it or not. They're actually working on it. Oh my gosh, things people are doing with the new technologies. All right. So anyway, the whole goal here, getting a little off topic. The whole goal here is to have better NAV, because if we're going to live to be 110 years old, we don't want to have a big negative number here. We want to have, a big, we're making money, right? I mean, you have this number, but I want to try and make this number lower. And then that makes this number bigger. It makes that number bigger. And it doesn't make this number bigger. This number stays the same. But it would make this number bigger if I can make that number better. So last year, I think I didn't do as good a job as I could have at making this number lower, because I wasn't paying as much attention to this number, thinking, well, I'll put my money in there, and if I lose some, it doesn't matter because the yield is going to cover it. And it did. I mean, I had spreadsheets. You guys saw that. I showed you the spreadsheet where I'd calculated that out. And I had lots of, where I'd bought high and didn't sell it, and the market went down. And I lost a bunch here, but the yield covered it, made it. So I still made money. And, it didn't make as much as if I'd bought better, but I wouldn't have made it money if I would have been out. So I have to take all that into consideration. It's all these things you have to be smart about it. You want to buy low, sell high. And that's why I'm trying to focus in a little bit more on trying to, for example, Tesla TSYY in that example where I went through and showed you TSY, TSLY. Where's my TSLY? Isn't that the one I did it on? Or did I do it on AMD? AMDY. Yeah. Oh, where I calculated my average price. So I'm working better, calculating my average price on my AMDY, so that when I buy, I'm trying to buy to draw my dollar cost average down. That's building an upside right pyramid, not an upside down pyramid. And that will help me. That's the way that I'm going to work harder this year in 2026. That's my goal, to try and make this NAV smaller, right? Not so big a NAV. And then I can have more money, more profits. All right, let's go to the next one. We've kind of run out of time here. We got to move faster, Lan. You talk too much. All right. So let's go to, I don't know what this one is. IONQ. Does anybody know what IONQ is? It's going straight down. IONQ. Let's go over here. IONQ. IONQ. What do these guys do? Why are they insuring this company? There's not even any dividends on it. Must be brand new. Oh, INQ. We did the underlying. That's why. Ooh, and I can already tell you that's going to be a bad deal. Look at this. It just flushed, and they just barely started doing it. IONQ. Where did my list go? Oh, it's in here. No, it's not. Oh, it's right there. IONQ is IOYY. 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 Do you guys have Portfolio Matrix? You need to get Portfolio Matrix to do all this stuff. This is just, it's like imperative. All right. See, it's now, look, gain is negative 27. Yield is 26. They're down 1.38. See that? They're getting their good yield. They're getting their gain. They're getting their good yield, 26%, but they're giving it all up in gain because the market's going down. Let's go look at it's IONQ. IONQ. Who the heck is IONQ and why are they doing IONQ? IONQ. Does anybody know what these guys do? Well, they're just going sideways. Their premiums are pretty good. Look at the implied volatilities. 82. Holy cow. What do these guys do? Now remember, implied volatility on Tesla was 50, and we thought that was high. That is a really expensive premium, $657. Now it says that it's worth $690, and you can buy it for $657. They think the market's going to go up. This would be a good one to insure right now. Wow. Wait, what are they getting over here? They're getting 26% yield. And I think this is going to stop going down. Now, it is their IPO, and they always way overvalued on their IPO. So even though it looks good from this standpoint, because it's way below the red line. See that? It's clear down here at the 200 period moving average. This is a beautiful setup. This is exactly what you want to see. High implied volatility. Premiums are expensive. Market looks like it's bottomed out. Looks like it wants to start going back up. And it's giving, the yield is only 26%, which surprises me. That surprises me. Why is that not higher? I think it's because it's new. I don't know. That should be higher. Well, we don't have a lot of time. We only have like, what, 2 months? Still. That's a lot. Think about it, because that's only 2 months. It's 26%. If we annualize that, we'd have to take that, let's say 2 times 6, 26.07 times 6. Well, that would be 156% annualized return. Wow. Now, granted, right now we're losing everything, that same amount, but that would be 156 annualized return. No wonder they're doing this thing. IOYY. What in the heck is this company? Not there. Here. IOY, not IOYY. What's the underlying? Oh, damn it. Now what did it doesn't say the underlying. IONQ. Oh, it's IONQ. 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 What is this company? What do they do? Where's Grok? Where's Grok? SWOTTI. Let's just do one T. SOWTT IONQ. Okay, while he works on that, let's come over here and look at what they say. Look at this. Well, earnings per share are down, but we don't really care about that. Sales in billions. Look at this. Wow. 43 billion. Oh, no, this is million. Sales in million. So 43 million. This is a little company. Shares outstanding, but their shares are going outstanding. They're up. That would drive their stock down. So if this goes up like that, that will drive their stock down. If this goes down, that drives their stock up. That's why I hate when Apple buys their stock back. See? So if you come in here, AAPL, and you look, that's why I hate Apple. Look what they're doing. Look at this. See that? They're buying all the shares back. That pushes their stock higher. And you're like, well, I'm happy about that. Yeah, if you own it. But it's false. It's a false sense of security. Their stock doesn't really deserve to go up. It's false. It's fake. It's not real. And the reason they do that is to prop up their stock because they're not doing well. See, their sales have been flat since 2021. Now they made a little bit better in 2025. 416. Yeah, that's the same. So they've 416. So they've posted their sale, and they're flat. They haven't made any money. They're no growth company, right? And they think they're a growth company. They're not. They haven't been a growth company since 2021. And even before that, look at that. It's flat. Buy the shares back. It's all an illusion. Earnings per share goes up because they're buying their shares back. Fewer shares, earnings go up. Everybody looks at earnings per share. Oh, Apple is so great. Oh, look, their earnings per share went up. So their sales sucked and they're buying their shares back. So it's a false sense of security. Yeah, but look at their stock go up. Yeah, but they haven't done a damn thing. They haven't innovated anything in 5 years. They sell you the same damn cell phone. My wife got her new cell phone for Christmas, and I've got a 5-year-old cell phone. This little thing I got, like 5 years old, and they're the exact same phone. It's the exact same thing. Tell me a new innovation that Apple's done that's made them any money. None. That's why they do this. Yeah, that's enough. That's enough of me complaining about Apple. I always complain about Apple. Why do I complain? Because I want them to be great. Because I want Apple to be great. I like Apple products. I don't like their computers, but I like Apple products. And they used to be a very big innovator. They're just sitting on their laurels. Okay, what are we doing now? We were looking at SIONQ, and we were going to look and see what IONQ, what they do. What does Grok say? Okay. Oh, come on, Windows. I hate Windows too. I hate everybody. Come on, figure it out. Okay, there we go. Okay. IonQ is a leading quantum computing company. Oh, specializing in trapped ion technology with full stack platform extending into networking, security, sensing, and space applications. This analysis synthesizes recent data from financial reports, company updates, market research, and industry insights for evaluating a strategic position entering 20 strengths. Technology leadership in trapped ion quantum computing. Wow, they have a quantum computer. Robust patent performance and initiative focus, strong financial position, cash preserves, strategic acquisition and full stack equipment, commercial partnerships and momentum. What's their weaknesses? High operating expenses and cash burn. Ooh. Okay, technical and scaling challenges, key personnel departures, loss of co-founder to academia and chief revenue officers of late 25. They're losing people. Valuation disconnect. Stock trades above fair value estimates of about 20. That's nothing. You want to see what fair value? Go look at what, just for fun here, let's ask Grok. What is fair market value of PLTR? Got to put the dollar sign in front of there so it knows it's a stock symbol. All right. Palantir fair market value is like 800 or something. It's like some absolutely ridiculous number. We'll let them work on that while we read this. Okay, so weaknesses. So they're trading at a 22% overvalue. That's nothing in the stock market. That's future value. Okay, so 22% better than what they are. All right. Quantum market expansion and commercial action. What's quantum computing, Lan? Well, quantum computing is the things that Google's been actually kind of leading the world on here. Quantum computers are like the next step thing. They can think like 10 billion times faster than the current computers. So they're just really fast computers. All right. Government and defense contracts. That's a Palantir thing happening right there. Quantum market expansion and commercial acquisition and equal. They could get bought out. Hybrid. Oh, threats. Intense competition and technology disruption. Yep. Rivals. IBM, Google, D-Wave. Do you believe that Google's going to do better at quantum computing than these guys? But these guys have quantum computer. Regulatory, geopolitical risk, economic uncertainties and quantum winter, execution, market adaptation, valuation, volatility. All right. So what is price 177 up today recent? Where come on, where is it? Where's the number I'm looking for here on Palantir? It's like 800 or something. Where is it? Oh, there it is. Valuation makes the PE ratio, trailing forward PE. I'm not looking for that. I want to know fair market value. Recent ranges, 174. Where's fair market? Come on, fair market value. High, low, 3, 7. I just wanted fair market value, Grok. Percent. It's giving me a full SWOT on Palantir. I didn't want a SWOT on Palantir. I wanted fair market value. Current snapshot. You're not giving me fair market value. What is all this, Grok? I didn't ask for any of this stuff. Grok, can you give me fair market value? It's like 800%. Anyway, it's like out of this world. It's like Palantir is trading at like an 800% fair market value. So when you say that this thing here is at a, high fair market value, 22%, that's not high. You ain't seen high. You don't know high. All right. That's enough with Grok. INQ. I don't know. Do we have any more that we want to look at? IONQ. We looked at that one. Mara. What's Mara? Do we know what Mara is? MARA. Mara Holdings. What do they do? Well, they're not buying the shares back. Sales are going through the roof. Got a positive. That's cool. Mara. Bitcoin mining. Mara Holdings Inc. is a digital asset technology company which engages in mining cryptocurrencies with focus on Bitcoin miners. So they'll make money if Bitcoin goes up. Then another Bitcoin stock. All right, so that's why Mara's down. But they're getting ready to bounce and come back up. That's a lower low, though. So look for little head and shoulders on this thing. So let's go look at MARA in here. MARA. So this is a little head and shoulders. We're going to look for little head and shoulders right here. This is your left shoulder. That's your neckline. This is your head. We're going to look for a little neckline in here and then a right shoulder. We don't know where that's going to be. We're just going to speculate out here somewhere. Maybe a little right shoulder in here. Maybe a little something like that. That's almost a double bottom. It's so close, but it's not. That's a head. So we got to look for this little, don't know where that's going to come in, right? It's crossing our decision point trading right there. So we're going to come in, we'll get a little right shoulder maybe. I don't think we'll get a V recovery. And then boom, 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 take off, go to the moon, be rich, 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 beyond your wildest dreams. Mara. All right. So Mara is Bitcoin. Let's go look at MAAY. 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 Okay, gain is negative 40, yield is 26, down 14. It's a Bitcoin. We know it's the same situation as MSTR, MSTY. It's going to go down because Bitcoin's been going down. As soon as Bitcoin starts going up, well, 26% annualized yield could go up. Who knows? Who knows? That's what it is. All right, they're selling puts. Meta, we already talked about that one. MSTR, MSTY, we talked about that. Nuggy. Oh, we talked about that. That's gold. NVIDIA, we haven't done their NVYY. Let's go look at that one. I think they've been doing that a little longer. NVYY. These are also new. That's the problem with the Granite Share stuff. Now, this has been going a little longer, about 6 months. Gain is negative 26. Yield is 60, so they're up 34% annualized return. There you go. That's one you could put a little money in, make 34% annualized return. Now, you have to compare that because we also have NVDY, right? This is NVYY. This is from Granite Shares. The Yield Max version, not Yield Boost, Yield Max is NVYY. Wait a second. Before we go see that, let's write this down. It's 34%. 34.34 NVYY. So we're going to now go look at NVDY. NVDY. This is the Yield Max version. And they're at 34%. 34. Oh, 34.28. So they're just a couple pennies smaller, but they got a lot more history, and they are taking into consideration this big drop right here. I think this one, NVDY, is actually doing better than NVYY. Not much, but it is doing a little better because this number takes into consideration this big drop, whereas the other one does not. All right, so let's go. What was I going to do? Oh, I was going to look at my spreadsheet because I think I have that NV. Yeah, I have $100,000 in that one, and I've lost 9,000 to the NAV, but I've made 39,000 on the. So I made 29,000 this year. And when did I put the NVD? Oh, it started from the very. That's all January. So it's not a big. It's not well. NVDY. Well, 34% is pretty good. Can't complain about 34% annualized return. That's what I got. Okay, that's what I got through here because I was in there for that whole. I was through that whole drop. I had to suffer through that whole thing. So you can see my returns: 2,800 in January, 3,600 in February, 2,300 in March, 1,900 in April, 4,700 in May, 1,900 in June, 3,000. And I don't know exactly when I put and how much I got NVDY. It says 100,000 is in there right now, but I don't know because look at this. May had 4,700. I don't know if I had money in. I took money out. I don't know. Look, October was 6,600. November was 3,400. I made on returns. December, I made 3,900. So for a total of 37,000. That's my 37,000 right there. Now I got 39 because we got more down here. And we had some, does that probably show some from, yeah, see, I don't know. I have to go look. See all these numbers up here? These are all the times I purchased it. Bought and sold, bought and sold, bought and sold. There's a minus in there. There's a minus. So there's another minus. So I was selling some at some point. I think that's when I did my portfolio adjustments. But these are all purchases. These are all pluses. So I bought all that, and then I sold this here, and then I bought all this. So that gives me this number here, 100,000. Palantir, I have 200,000. So you can see all the purchases I made in. I just put them all in here. I used to create this little spreadsheet over here and put them all in this little list down here so you could see them all. But then I decided to do it this way. I don't know which is better. Probably this one's better. I would bet I should probably go back to this model because then I can come down and I can look at it and say, oh, see right here on March, I bought this much, I sold this much, I got this much. This is actually a better model. If you have Pit News Magazine, you get this spreadsheet. You get this one and you get this one both. I did this one for my, because it was easier for me to do it like this when I was doing my tax loss harvesting. So this is a simpler version. It's not really simpler. In fact, all these numbers right here, kind of a pain in the butt because they don't tell you what they are. There's no dates. There's nothing. There's just a row of numbers. And I just take that right from my brokerage firm, my brokerage account. So I don't know. It's probably easier to do it this way because you have more information. You can see all of your information and you get these cute little pictures. All right. So whatever you want to do. You get both when you subscribe to Pit News Magazine. I send you this spreadsheet so you can have, and it's got all my numbers in it. I just leave all my numbers. I'm too lazy to take it out. And it's not like I don't show it to you. I show you what all my real money numbers are. So they're all in there. And you just replace mine with yours. And then you can do the same thing. That's all I'm doing. All right. So let's go back over to, have we got any we haven't done in the Granite shares that we want to see? So let's see. So that was gold, NVIDIA, Palantir, PLYY. We haven't done that one yet. And it's PLYY. That's a big one. So we got to go do that one. PLYY. So PLYY right there. Whew, look at that baby go down. And if we go look, PLTY, that's PLYY, PLLTY, which is the underlying. Come on, Typeland, PLTY. No, that's PLTY is the yield max version. PLTR is the stock, PLTR. So they're trading this. Now, it's just been going sideways, which shouldn't be a big loser. So PLTY is the yield max version, and it's been going more sideways. PLYY has been dropping really hard. Let's go look at PLYY over here. PLYYY. Okay, the gain is 36. The yield is 70. Now they had that big drop over here. This is NVDY. That's the wrong one. I want, and that's yield. That's the yield max version. So let's write that down. This is still NVDY. We're looking at the wrong one. I want PLYY, right? That's the Granite shares. Yeah, that's the one we want. Okay, that sucks. It's down 27, up 29, or positive 129. So they haven't really done anything. They haven't done anything. They're just getting started, though. It's only 3 months old. So let's go look at the PLTY, which is the yield max version. This is one I have. So see, they down 20 with a yield of 88. So I'm up 68% annualized return. Now, I have a lot of this. I have $200,000 in this one. Plus my wife has an account, and that's where she gets all her money. All right. So she has her own and she just uses it for income. She just has a bunch of money sitting in there, like $35,000, and she makes a couple $1,000s a month and goes and spends it. She doesn't ever reinvest it. She hasn't reinvested a penny of it. She just takes it out and spends it. It's fine. It made 68% annualized return this year. That's kicking butt. That's kicking booty. Now, PLTY, that's the yield max version. And again, PLYY is the Granite shares version. And they're just getting started. I think let's let them settle down, because in many instances, the ones that they're doing really well on, that they've had for longer than a year, or up to a year, they're actually, the put options are actually in, like Tesla, for example, is an NVIDIA, Tesla, the Granite shares funds are actually beating the yield max funds. Now remember, Granite shares, they sell covered, they sell cash secured puts. Yield max, they sell covered calls. It's a different strategy. The advantage of yield max is that they also buy, because to sell a covered call, they have to own the stock. Now they don't own the stock. That's not how they do it. So they buy a synthetic long position with options, and then they sell a covered call. So they actually get to participate in some upside potential, whereas Granite shares does not. Granite shares selling a put, if the market goes up, they don't make any more money or less. They make the same amount, right? Now, if the market goes down, they can lose, but they can't make any on the way up. They just they make their dollar amount on their put options, Granite shares. But if the market goes down, they can lose, but they can't make any more. They don't get to participate in rising prices. Yield max does. Yield max, if the market goes up, they get to participate in upside potential, plus they get their covered call premiums. That's why I kind of like yield max a little bit better than yield boost. But the market's got to rise. If the market doesn't go up, yield max isn't going to make more money than yield boost. In fact, yield boost will probably outperform them. Definitely will outperform them. It becomes one of those, it becomes speculative. It's more speculative to be in yield max than it is in yield boost. Yield max, you're saying, hey, I think the market's going to rise, so I'm going to be in yield max. You'll make more money if it does, but you'll make less money if it doesn't. If the market doesn't go up, or if it just goes flat sideways, well, you'll not make as much money as if you were in the yield boost version. It's just different strategies. It's not, which is better, Land? There's not a better. It's different, right? It depends on what the market does. If the market goes up, yield boost is going to be better. I mean, yield max is going to be better. Market doesn't go up, yield boost will be better. Market goes down, they're both going to lose. Probably lose more slowly. Yield boost will probably lose more slowly. Granite shares will probably lose more slowly than yield max. Yield max, when markets go down, yield max loses a lot. Well, it's the same. Because if it goes below the line, if it goes below your red line, you're losing just as much as yield max is losing on their synthetic long. So there's no advantage to the market going down on either one of these. Now they do have short markets, which we haven't talked about. So you can go, if the market's going down short, you can buy some if you anticipate a fall in price. But I've not had a lot good luck with those. All right, let's go see if there's one more. I think there was another one in there we wanted to look at before we call it quits. QBT we did, QQQ we did, RGTI, Riot, semiconductors, semi. Oh, that's one we might want to look at before we call it quits. Yeah, the rest of these, there's a couple more in there that we could look at, but we're running out of time. It's already been like, what did we start at 9 o'clock? It's already 11. We've been going for 2 hours. Man, what a lesson this thing's been. All right, well, let's look at this one last one, and then we'll call it quits for the day. Semiconductor. Let's look at the semi. Look straight down. SEMY. SEMY. And then we'll go look at the reason I want to use semi is because it's the semiconductor, and YieldMax has one just like it. All right, it's called Chippy. So we'll go look at. Oh, semi might be so new they're not going to pull it up in Portfolio Matrix. Portfolio Matrix might not have this one. It's brand new. Look how short it is. It's only been going for a couple months. So it doesn't look like I'm not getting it in here. Oh, is that it? Oh, there it is. It did come up. Ha ha. All right. So they got a negative 14. They got a positive 18, which is good. They're at 4.8 for a brand new one, and they're positive. That's good. All right. So we're going to keep our eye on this one. Semi might be a good one. They're selling semiconductors. All right. So the other one, the YieldMax version is called Chippy. CHPY. And it's the YieldMax, and they call this one the Target 12. So what they're doing is they're keeping some of the profits. They're not distributing everything they make. They keep some of it, which makes the gain go up. So see, you got a positive gain. Now you might like that, but it ties up 27% of your money in the market. So it's like dripping it back in. They're not ever giving it to you. They're just keeping it. So it doesn't ever come to you as income. So that's good. You don't have to pay taxes on it because they're not selling it and giving it to you as income. So you're not going to get as much income because the yield is only 29. But see, you're going to get a positive gain. And you'll notice on most of these funds, you don't have a positive gain, right? You have a negative gain. So they're not giving you all the profits that they're making. They're keeping it in the fund. So the fund itself is actually growing. This is called the Target 12. They got 4 of them. Now, one's real estate. And if you look at the Pitt News Magazine, we wrote them up, all 4 of them in the last issue of Pitt News Magazine. You can see all of them. One of them is called Biggie. One of them is called Chippy. One of them is a real estate one, and the other one hasn't been released yet. So, and then they say they're going to have more Target 12s. They said that they're going to do a Target 25. So where they're going to try and keep the yield at 20, the gain at 25, and the yield is going to be very small, which is more typical of what you would find out in normal ETFs like JEPI, JEPQ, those types of things. So they're going to try and do a JEPI, JEPQ type style fund too. They're going to try to do a bunch of those, because they've been getting a lot of shit about how their NAV is always down, right? So they're like, well, we can solve that. We just won't give you some of your money back. So we're going to hang on to some of your money and your NAV will go up. Well, okay. Then I have to sell my shares to get my money out. I wish that they would have a Target 3 NAV instead of Target 12 yield. So that's my gain. Okay, so we got gain is 27. Yield is 29, so we're at a 56%. And that's on Chippy, and I have some of that one. Oh, I had some. I didn't. I had to sell it. Chippy. The semi is down. SEMY. Now we looked at this. SEMY. Come on. SEMY. Land. Click it. 14, 18. It's a 4. We got to keep our eye on semi. Chippy's a good one. 56% annualized return. I got to get some more money back in this thing. I sold it off for tax loss harvesting because I had such a bad entry. See, I don't have any Chippy in here right now. I sold it. Chippy. Let's go back over here and look at Chippy. CHPY. This is the YieldMax version of. Oh man, I sold this one off for tax loss harvesting, and that's just pissing me off. I can't get back in for 30 days. I can't get back in for 30 days. That's the game we're playing. Look at the back of the game board box. The rule is I can't get back in for 30 days. And look at it going taken to the moon. Got it. I'm pissed off about that. Chippy is a good one. Let's go. Biggie is the other target 12. Look at this. Biggie's going to be more stable because it's all about the great big huge funds. Got IBM. Let's go look at what's in it. No, not this one. We got to go over here. Let's pull up Biggie. Okay, this is Biggie. This is another one of their target 12. See that? And you can see they only give their dividends on this one every month. On the target 12s, they don't do a weekly dividend. They do a monthly. So you can see it's 53 cents per share and shares are 52. So if we come down here, we can see what's in it. It's got Apple, NVIDIA, Alphabet, Microsoft, Amazon, Meta, Lilly, Tesla, Broadcom, Walmart. It's got 150 holdings. Show all. Ugh. Look at them all. All these great big companies. That's why they call them Biggie. Blackstone, Amgen, Phillips Morris. These are all the great big companies. Okay, so they're selling options. They're insuring these big companies. So it's going to be a very stable. That's why your return is going to be smaller, but you're going to get a gain. So you get a positive gain, not a negative. So 13 on the yield, and then of course if the whole market goes down, this thing will go down, and this will be a much smaller number. So the implied volatility on the options is not going to be as high on any of these because they're such stable, great big huge giant, great big huge giant firms. So take that with a grain of salt. That's what that is. All right. And I can't remember the real estate one. We'd have to go look it up. And in the interest of time, we're not going to do that this time. All right, guys, I'm going to let you go. I think we've played around long enough, giving you a kind of a little heads up of how I do this and what I do and the tools I use. And you can do this for yourself and create your spreadsheets and use Portfolio Matrix to track all this stuff. Portfolio Matrix will do all the stuff that I do in my spreadsheet. You don't need a spreadsheet. I just do the spreadsheet to kind of show you guys that you can use. I give you the spreadsheet. So if you don't want to have Portfolio Matrix, you can do it yourself all on the spreadsheet. But if you're not a real big, you still have to pay for the insurance. You still have to pay for a subscription service to get to the spreadsheet too. It's like, I'm going to avoid the Portfolio Matrix. I'm going to avoid the Portfolio Matrix monthly fee, and I'm just going to do it myself in a spreadsheet. Okay, well, you still have to subscribe to Microsoft and pay their subscription fee so you can get the data that comes in. You're like, well, no, if you subscribe to buy the software, first of all, and then you have to subscribe, and that subscription gives you the data feed that comes in and populate all this, and then you have to go through and manually do it. It ends up being about the same as Portfolio Matrix, which goes out and grabs your brokerage firm and puts it all in here for you anyway. So it's just different. And then everything that's on my spreadsheet is in Portfolio Matrix. I'll show you. In the interest of time, we'll show you that another day. But all this spreadsheet stuff is in Portfolio Matrix anyway. Just you can have my spreadsheet if you like to do spreadsheets. And if you're already a subscriber, well, I use Google Maps or Google. Well, okay. Google doesn't have data they say they do, but I've never been able to make it work because I would use Google Sheets, but I can't make the data work. I can't I know how to do it in Microsoft, but I don't know how to do it in Google. All right. Anyway, I think you should have Portfolio Matrix. This is where all this magic happens. Plus, then we can, of course, come in here and we can do all this neat stuff too. We got all the targeter, tells us where to put our money, how much percentages, the dollar amounts that we put into each one of the funds that we're going to have. It's just so much nicer. Keeps track of everything. I would recommend you have Portfolio Matrix for your managing your portfolio. I would recommend you have Track and Trade. Track and Trade. This is the stocks version so that you can do all of your portfolio management. And then if you ever do want to do an option, you can trade right through your software. But even just to track it, you can do this. This is the reason I always show you this little program right here. This little program is because it's free. And a lot of people like free. This is free, but it pops up ads all over it for the free version. And it doesn't have all this information down here either. So if you go to like ABM, see, it gives you, you have to pay for it. And then there you go. You have to pay for it again. But then it gives you all this stuff. All this stuff is not in the free version. But that's, you know, I show you the FinViz because it's free. And it's the best shitty program there is on the market, on the web for free stuff. It's the best shitty one. If you want real stuff, you come over here and get the real portfolio. But this is even more. This costs money too. So if you're trying to do this all for free, you're gonna have a hard time. You got to buy the right tools for the right job. That's all there is to it. If you're gonna be a mechanic, you're gonna go buy yourself some nice tools. You know, it's the living. It's a job. You know, we run it as a business. You want to get the right tools. If you're just going to try and do it all for free, well, I try to help you so you can reduce your costs, but you also reduce your capabilities as well. Anyway, that's how it works. And then, of course, you got to have Pitt News Magazine because you just do. Pitt News Magazine. And here's where you get Pitt News Magazine. All right, let me do this first real quick.
Okay, this is the software I use. It's called Track and Trade. They've got two versions, one for stocks, one for futures. This is the website, Track, the letter N, trade.com. This is where you download a free 2-week trial. No credit card required. Okay, go download your copy, then come back here, follow along, and I'll show you all my settings.
All right, and then Pitt News Magazine. Everybody's got to have Pitt News Magazine. Go get it, pittnews.com. And then that's where you get, I send out my spreadsheets. I send out all my documents that I give away for free. That's where you get everything. All right. It comes out once a month with an email. And then, of course, you get the magazine, which is a digital magazine, and everything's recorded so you can just listen to the articles. And then we talk about all this really neat stuff. That's how we stay in touch with each other. All right. Okay, guys, I'm going to let you go. We've run over 2 hours. So this has been a big class, long class, lots of information. Hopefully you guys are following along, doing the same thing, making money, and 58% annualized return. That's not bad. I'm pretty happy with that. I want to do better this year. Hopefully we can do better this year, and we're off to a good start. We'll see you guys later. Take care.
All right, that wraps it up for today. If you got something out of this, do me a favor. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone else who's trading or learning.
Hey, don't forget to tell them to subscribe to Pitt News Magazine.
Oh yeah, definitely subscribe to Pitt News Magazine. You'll thank us later.